So Clown had its official United States release in June of 2016. However, it was appearing at many festivals and many other countries since 2014, so the official release, I guess, is then. But its limited and then wide release was 2016. This is produced by Eli Roth, not directed by Eli Roth, which many people will think because of the from Master of Terror Eli Roth. This is directed by John Watts and written by John Watts and Christopher Ford. It's an indie project, so this got a very limited release even on Blu-ray. I remember this being actually quite high priced when it came out compared to other releases. But I mean, I was sold immediately from the cover, of course, and I love creepy clowns and I love independent cinema, especially independent horror. It's usually some of the best, and this film didn't disappoint. I've seen it now maybe 4 or 5 times. And this last viewing, loved it even more. I think the practical effects mixed with the CGI are kind of perfect when it comes to making this clown look terrifying. And the guy who plays the clown does a really good job selling it because he has this kind of like everyday guy, but with a lot of humor to him as well. And when he goes creepy, he definitely goes creepy. He had a lot of help, obviously, with like the voice modification and a little bit of CGI when he starts to get very demonic kind of thing. But great film, very good project, very good passion project, and basically the premise, the spoiler free premise is quite simple. This guy, he's a real estate agent, and at this home that he's selling or putting on the market in the basement or the attic, one of them, he finds a bunch of clothing, and in this like crate, this box, is a clown costume. And it's his kid's birthday party, and the clown that was supposed to be at the birthday party is running late. So the wife calls this guy and is like, "You have to like think of something." And he kind of like lands in the perfect opportunity, which he thinks is the perfect opportunity. He doesn't know that this clown suit is haunted, and he comes to the birthday in place of this clown that they hired, and he dresses like a clown and puts on his performance for his kid's birthday, and then he can't take the suit off, and the nose that he has a hard time taking off as well. He starts to grow clown hair. He has a really hard time taking off his makeup, and he starts to slowly transform into a demonic clown, which is just called the clown in the movie. That's the historical demon they call the clown. And the demon has this like horn growing out of his head, and I don't know if this is based on an actual mythos because I didn't do the research on it, but it probably is. I'm sure. I wouldn't doubt that there's an urban legend with a demon clown somewhere out there, somewhere in the mythos. But man, like it's kind of hilarious when he's trying to take the makeup off, and he has a really hard time doing, especially the nose. And there's a scene where the wife is trying to pull out the nose with like a pair of tweezers, and it's not coming off. And she manages to rip it, but she only rips like half of it out, and it's basically his nose now. So he's walking around without like a nose. It has like a chunk of the tip missing from it. And he's a real estate agent. He has to go to this other house the next day, and he has to go in a clown costume and with clown hair and everything. And he's trying to wear this like huge trench coat, like overcoat over everything, and wears this stupid hat. And he shows up, and there's these guys who are painters, I believe, and they're the painting crew, and they look at him like, "Who the fuck are you?" And he's like, "I'm the real estate. I'm Kent. I'm the real estate agent of this house." And one of them, who's a Mexican guy, he just looks at it, he just delivers the best line. I can't do the best Mexican but he's like, "Why are you dressed like a clown?" Just the way he delivers it, it's so perfect, and only he can deliver it like that. And the Kent is just like, "You got kids?" kind of thing. And then he goes in the house. He's trying to take the fucking thing off, and he's using like an X-Acto knife to cut the suit off of himself. I'm like, how do you like? If it's that tight, I think a knife is probably not the best thing. And then he goes for a hacksaw, and he tries to hacksaw like down his back. I'm like, Jesus, you're crazy, man. He ends up slitting his wrist, obviously, and like really hurting himself. His groans when he's hurt are really awkward because he sounds like they sound sexual. He's like, "Oh, oh." oh, oh, and he'll do that for like 20 seconds. It's really, really awkward. And then the Mexican guy's again, he's in the washroom, he's screaming, he's like, fuck, fuck. And the Mexican is just like, pincho payaso, fucking clown. It's really funny. And then he gets this obsession with birthday cake, so he starts to make a shit ton of birthday cake and just start eating birthday cake. And he'll get into these like nauseous vomit moments, and he pukes like rainbow kind of thing. And not like cartoon rainbow, like it looks like icing on cake, but it's multicolored. You got your blues and your pinks and your all that, and that's basically what he starts puking up. Like when you're puking up phlegm, except it's like colorful. It's really the way they do it. It's really funny. And this film mostly is horror, but it's certainly got a lot of dark comedy. And this film, the director is not shy and the writers are not shy. They will harm children in this movie. There's a few kid deaths in here, and just a lot of the line delivery is very, very bleak and dark, but in a comedic way. So if you like black comedy mixed in with horror, there's not like there's no comedic reliefs in here. Like it's not like a horror comedy whatsoever. It's just pure horror and just really, really dark comedy, like very dark comedy. If you're into that, yeah, this film doesn't shy away from stuff like that, and I really, really liked that. So he's trying to basically find out where this suit came from, and it leads him to a place called Carlson Costumes. And he meets this guy named Bert Carlson who owns this place, and Bert Carlson knows the whole history of the clown and everything. And he's one of the biggest. I wouldn't call him a comedic relief, but he's one of the most like sinister characters, but in a hilarious way because he's just so nonchalant and he knows exactly what has to be done and he just gives no fucks about it. So when this guy Kent comes to visit Bert at his house, Bert makes him tea and everything and drugs the tea to put him to sleep. And then in the next scene, Kent's just lying strapped to this bed, and Bert's just like, "I'm sorry, this is just how it has to be done," and he's ready to decapitate fucking Kent. And Kent, of course, obviously gets away, and he gets an axe like right through his shoulder. He's like, "What the fuck, man?" And Bert ends up seemingly crazy because he says he wants to help Kent, but all his solutions are basically just to kill Kent, and basically Kent has to remove his head. But Kent ends up getting a hold of Bert and tying him to the back seat of the car, and then drives home with him and starts explaining everything to the wife and the wife's dad, so his father-in-law. And then he just like his entire story just sounds like a crazy person, like somebody's going through some severe mental shit kind of thing, and he comes along with Bert strapped in the car. So it's like your situation just does not look good for you, bud, and like nobody takes him seriously. And the father-in-law is like again another nonchalant character. He's just like, your husband's basically crazy, and you need to get away from him, and you need to keep your son Jack safe. Their son's name is Jack, and he's like, "Come stay with me for a while. Clearly, your husband's mental right now." So just he's just going through the tropes, and there's no sympathy from this guy at all. He's just like there to protect his daughter, but he's just like being as blunt as possible about it and not giving a shit about Kent. But at this point his stories are fucking nuts. So what are you gonna do? So Kent basically starts to go like all over the town. He's like sleeping on the streets and everything. He really starts to decompose in a really disturbing way too. Like he starts to look very homeless, and he's like when he's sleeping in the forest and stuff like that, and the way he ties his boots and everything because his feet are starting to get all fucked up. And he goes to stay at this motel for a while, and he encounters this kid, and this kid actually thinks this guy's a clown, and he thinks he's friendly, and he's offering him candy and cake and food and stuff like that. And Kent is like trying to get this kid away from him because he knows he's going crazy. He knows he's getting like psychotic and having a thirst for kids basically, and for cake, and just losing his mind essentially. And this kid won't leave him alone. He's just like, "Hey, friendly clown, you want some food and everything?" And he'll keep knocking on the motel door. And Kent at one point realizes or tries to end himself. And he uses a gun, but that doesn't work. He just shoots himself, and he 10 seconds later just comes back alive. And then he makes this like kind of trinket thing with two hacksaws, with the spin blades, and he puts them side by side so he can sit on a chair and lean backwards so it hits his like neck and cuts his head off. And he's trying to, but he doesn't have the nerve to do so. And he's about to, and then this little kid just walks right in again, and he's like, "Hi, clown." And then he like Kent like trips himself. He falls sideways, and then the blade gets loose and like flies across the room and goes directly through the kid. The kid's just like dead, obviously. But yeah, I'm like, there's a lot of moments in this film that will be like that and make you just go, "Whoa, that's dark!" Like really, really dark. So the trying to end himself doesn't work clearly, and he eventually goes back to his and his wife's house, and he has her tie him down with chains in the basement and tells her to like not let him out no matter what he says, and she obeys that. But Jack eventually comes home, and he, in demon mode, starts to manipulate Jack, and he's like, "Hey Jack, come down here, buddy. You won't know where the metal cutters are," or something like that. And Jack, being naive and innocent and, loving his dad, lets him out, and then Kent is on the loose again. So eventually they end up at a Chuck E. Cheese. I like how they actually use the name Chuck E. Cheese in this movie. So a little product placement there. And at this point, he's very demonic already. So he's already starting to attack kids, and the authorities know about this. So every parent in the town is freaking out about their kids and like trying to protect their kids and take them home, kind of thing. So you have all these parents running around trying to find their kids outside this Chuck E. Cheese, and the mom is told by this now fully like 90% demon clown to bring him one more kid. If she doesn't bring him one more kid, he's just going to go after Jack, and the demon's going to take Jack, and then she can have her husband back. So she's looking for a kid, and this is another dark moment. She finds this little girl, and well, the little girl finds her because she's in her car, and the little girl comes knocking, and she's like, "Hey, I recognize you as Jack's mom. I'm really scared right now. Can you take me home?" And you're looking at the wife's face, and she's thinking about like, "Here's my chance," kind of thing. You're like, "Oh no, this is so fucking dark," because this little girl's so cute and so scared, and the way she's talking, it's like, "Don't choose her. Come on, what's wrong with you?" Like any other, well, no kid is deserving, but like the way this little girl is acting, like so innocent, it's like, oh my gosh, this is so fucking mean spirited. It's not even funny. So she does take her to a forest, and she says, "Yeah, we're home." And the little girl gets out, and she like quickly shuts the door and locks the door, and the little girl's all scared. It's like, wow, this is hella mean spirited right now. I do like this scene in this movie where there's some bullies involved that always bully Jack at school, and there's a scene where one of them, whose name is Colton, is playing like online shooting games with his friends, and the clown Kent comes over and like takes him as one of the kids, and I like that because at least the father is kind of sticking up for Jack in a brutal way, but at least he's somewhat deserving of a little bit of punishment. Maybe not, being eaten by a demon and having his soul stolen, but it's better than the little girl. Let's just put it that way. But the whole like sacrificing kids is super mean spirited in this film. And then I like the final showdown in the house, and again, very great practical effects. The clown ends up grabbing the father-in-law's face and just ripping it off, and you see this like whole like jaw rip kind of thing on the dad, and he's biting the mom's neck, and you can see like the skin peeling right off the mom's neck. Really cool stuff. And the mom ends up getting him in the basement again and tied up with chains, and she uses this big ass sledgehammer to just knock the clown's head off, but the head is hanging by the like spine or whatever, so it's not fully off the body, so the body starts moving again, and then she just grabs that fucking head and starts ripping it off. And it's really sad because, again, with the mean spiritedness, like the main character Kent had obviously no idea what the hell he was putting on and that the suit is haunted. And to have like no way out other than decapitation, which is not going to save you, so it's not like you can decapitate yourself and then Kent survives. The only way to kill the demon is by killing yourself along with him, kind of thing. So there's really no chance in hell and no saving grace for anybody except the mom and the kid. But at the end of the movie, the head's ripped off, and then one of the final shots, it shows the head, and it's Kent, like completely normal, like non-demonic. So at that point, you're like, wow, she killed the demon, but she ended her husband's life right along with him. And at the end of the movie, it's showing like the evidence and everything's in bags, and then it ends with you see the clown suit in an evidence bag, so you know that the clown suit is not destroyed. And according to Bert Carlson, they explained that he put it on at one point, and his brother got him a bunch of kids and sacrificed a bunch of kids to save him, so he was able to take his suit off by sacrificing a bunch of kids. And this demon clown wants basically one kid per every month of winter, which equals to 5. I guess there's 5 months of winter. And so Bert Carlson was saved by his brother, but that's literally the only way to save your life, is sacrifice 5 children or cut your head off and not save your life. But to satisfy the demon, it takes 5 kids, or to destroy the demon, it takes your own life and your own head, basically. And yeah, so this movie's very metal. And this movie's pretty gory, and most of all, it's just really, really freaking mean-spirited. But I like the characters, and that's another thing about this movie. It kind of adds to the mean-spiritedness because you like the characters. You like Jack, you like Meg, the wife, you like Kent a lot, like before he goes demon, and the only character that's like is Bert Carlson, but that's just because he's so unreadable, and he's in the middle of the movie when he's in the backseat of the car, Kent drives into some kind of wall, and then Bert is basically taken to the hospital, and he has his teeth completely like wired shut, like after surgery or whatever kind of thing. So he can't speak, and there's a scene where he's trying to tell the wife by writing on paper that she needs to stay away from Kent unless she's wanting to remove his head, and never to trust anything Kent says because it's not Kent, it's a demon clown. But he's in the hospital, he's like pointing to the piece of paper because he can't speak or anything. I thought that was funny. But yeah, it's a cool movie. It's really, really worth watching. If you like, independent horror gems and what do they say? Underrated horror. This is a very, very underrated horror film that I don't see too many people talk about, but it's definitely a really good find, and I highly recommend checking it out. But just prepare for a little bit of mean-spiritedness and dark, dark, dark comedy. Pitch black comedy for sure. But other than that, it's great, and it has Eli Roth's name on it, and it fits. It fits. I can see why Eli Roth wanted to get behind this project because it's really, really well done. I just have to look up John Watts and maybe check out some of his other projects, but this one is really good, and I say go check it out. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. I will be back with more soon, so stay tuned. And 31 Days of Horror is coming up real soon, so go check out my videos for that starting October 1st. And check out what's already on my channel. Stay tuned for what's coming until next review, which might be on October 1st. Have a good one. Take care and cheers.